You asked for data center proxies, so we ship them. Great news! If you've been using Browserless, you probably know by now that we support residential proxies. Well, now we just ship data center proxies too. As you may already know, residential proxies consume 6 units per megabyte of traffic. Data center proxies only consume 2 units per megabyte of traffic. So in this video, I'm going to teach you the differences between the two and when you should use one or the other. So stick along if you want to learn more. First of all, what exactly is a proxy? It sits between you and the website, so the website sees its IP address instead of yours. That matters because your IP address carries a reputation. If you send too many requests from one address, you'll trigger rate limits, reputation checks, or a CAPTCHA. But a proxy only changes that one layer. Your cookies, your browser fingerprint, and how you behave can still give you away as a bot. So proxies are not the entire solution to bot detection. I've linked more on our stealthy approaches in the description if you want to learn more. Now the two proxy types come down to where they're hosted, and that's what shapes their reputation. Data center proxies get routed through servers. They're fast and cheap, but their address ranges are easy to spot, so sites can block them in bulk. Residential proxies, however, are routed through real home internet connections. They look like an ordinary person browsing, but they cost more and may run slower because your traffic takes an extra hop to a residential network instead of going straight through a fast server. One thing about residential proxies nobody talks about enough is, where do these home IP addresses actually come from? In the ideal case, people knowingly opt in and get paid for it, but in the worst case, an app can hide code that turns your device into a proxy without you knowing, buried in the terms you agreed to. Imagine playing a free game and quietly routing a stranger's traffic through the whole time. And this isn't hypothetical. In January 2026, Google disrupted IPIDEA, one of the largest residential proxy networks in the world, where the code was hidden inside hundreds of ordinary apps that never clearly told users their device was being enrolled into a proxy. So it's a fair question to ask any provider, whose connection am I using and did they agree to this? At Browserless, we use proxy sourced through opt-in only, where users consent to having their device used as a proxy and they get paid for it. So now that you know the difference between residential and data center proxies, let's go over how to use them with our tools. You switch networks with one query parameter, proxy equals data center or proxy equal residential. Let's run this with proxy equals residential. Sweet, so it caught the residential IP address. Now let's run it through a data center proxy. And the same result, but you'll see the IP address is pointing to a data center. Now we can also add proxy country and we'll route your traffic through that location. This is useful if you need to see a site the way a local would, like checking regional pricing, testing geo-specific content, or scraping data that only shows up in certain countries. You can also narrow it down to a specific city with proxy city, but keep in mind this one isn't on every plan, so check our pricing page for availability. You can define the country with 2 characters like US, MX, etc. By default, every request goes through a random IP from the pool, and on our stealth endpoints, you can add proxy locale match, which sets the browser language to match the proxy's country. So a Brazilian proxy makes site load in Portuguese instead of defaulting to English, which can help you blend in and see content the way a local actually would. Here are a few useful tips if you're going to use our inbuilt residential proxies. So which one should you use? I'd recommend starting with data center. Yeah, it's easier for sites to recognize it, but on less strict targets that doesn't matter and it gets the job done for 1/3 of the proxy units. Data center proxies can easily handle public data, simple sites, and high volume scraping at a fraction of the cost, especially when you're rotating through lots of IP addresses to dodge rate limits rather than be very advanced bot detection. If you do get blocked, however, and it looks like an IP reputation problem, move up to a residential proxy. And if both fail, it's probably not just your IP address. It's likely your fingerprint or your behavior, and that's where our stealthier approaches come in. I've linked the information in the description below. And one heads up, proxy units are billed by bandwidth, so a heavy site can eat through them fast. So keep an eye on your usage, and especially on image-heavy pages. Data center and residential proxies are now both live, and it's one query parameter away. So go check them out and tell us how it went. The docs are linked in the description, and I'll see you on the next video.